Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review of Captain America issue 22. And this definitely brought an interesting kind of dynamic to the battle that was going on between Cap and Selene, while also teasing us on what's going on with General Ross. So we start off and we see that we're at the Carter estate with Sharon and Tony, and of course, Tony's able to get through Madripoor's kind of crazy ass communications thing, but they only have 3 minutes to really talk. So they pretty much get connected with Ross, lays out, okay, it was an LMD because they've gotten so advanced, they've got like fake blood, bones, all that kind of jazz. And the thing is, Sharon's like, well, why the hell haven't you kind of like brought this forth, Ross? He's like, well, there's more important things than Steve's reputation on the line. And he starts talking about how Alexa infiltrated everything, got the president's ear once they were fighting the Hydra forces, and then doing this stuff with the sleeper cells boosted the president's approval rating, and of course that got Alexa locked in. Of course, Ross didn't trust her in the comics, but like once a Ruski, always a Ruski. Started looking in, she decided to kill two birds with one stone and take Cap out of the equation as well as Ross. He then is attempting to tell her about some kind of the Power Elite's plot, something that revolves with like a first strike, but that's when the interference start coming in and they lose the connection. They then switch over to watching the feed of Cap and Bucky and Sam fighting Selene. Steve, of course, is being kind of taken, like, mobbed by the guys, but we see that Sam is dealing with Selene. Of course, he's got a vibranium weave and everything, and we see her kind of like blasting energy at him, but it's not really doing much, and then she just starts hurling rocks at him and gets a solid hit on him as he gets knocked down. But we see that since she's using most of her powers to do those kind of things, she can't really retain her hold on the rest of the men in the town. So they kind of like, what the hell's going on? Steve, of course, tells him to like book it out. I wish that had been communicated a little bit better, because we suddenly go to a point where they're like, what the hell? I was kind of confused when I first saw it, but it's not completely horrendous. I just needed some kind of panel where they kind of start snapping at it a little bit, like that kind of in between kind of thing. They then go on to attack her. She's like, yeah, the Blood Marine's gonna pretty much be fed one way or another. But they start banging out on her and like team up to go after her. We get back to Sharon and her place, and she's rightfully concerned because Agatha is late. But we see that she was late for a reason, because she was bringing Shuri. And I didn't know this, but she's evidently connected to the mystical arts and everything as well, and that's why she's Agatha kind of went to her, and she's like, Sharon, you should have just asked me for help. And of course, Sharon is dealing with this kind of problem of she doesn't have a problem asking for help, but she's always being getting into situations where she needs to or has to like beg for assistance or whatnot, and she wants to do something kind of on her own that the Daughters of Liberty have to stand on their own and whatnot. But Shuri is making the compelling case that like we don't really stand alone. You have to help each other do these things, and I kind of tend to. I understand both sides, but I kind of lean more towards Shuri being like, yeah. And then she's talking about how like the alliance of Cap and the Panther are old, and that she's of course going to honor that kind of stuff. I'm like, all right, let's kind of do this and help them out, because Selene gets to a point where she's like, yeah, screw your stuff. It's really fitting that I'm like fighting you, Cap, because I get to knock the unholy hell out of you. Seeing her like take off her kind of cloak and just be like, let's do this. I'm gonna break you pretty much. And Steve, of course, lays her out first, is like, get up. But we see that Sharon is still kind of getting ready with everything. Tony's like, shouldn't it be me doing this? She's like, listen, it has to be me. Life is just not waiting around to die. Hell, even dying is not waiting around to die. It's doing things. As we see Cap being beat the shit out of by Selene. And yeah, Selene is a pretty big level threat that they need some kind of mystical assistance with, and any other kind of assistance that they can get, because Cap, he's a good dude. He's a great soldier and a great fighter, but he doesn't have the power set to kind of completely deal with this. I mean, if he's got all this different kind of assistance and the way to kind of finagle the situation, he'd be able to do it, but he doesn't have something that can like take her out at this moment. So we see that someone blasts in, and Sharon's like, they're gonna have to peel the armor off of me. As we see, she's wearing the Iron Patriot armor with Shuri and Agatha coming in, and that's where the issue ends. I'm like, yeah, so he's gonna get her ass kicked. So hopefully we get kind of a resolution on that as we get more movement on the Power Elite. And I'm glad that we got at least a little bit more info from Ross that, okay, we're finally getting not completely new information. It got cut out right before, so hopefully we get a little bit more movement on that. I don't mind a slow burn and everything, but you gotta balance it. Kind of like what we were seeing in this issue with Shuri and Sharon talking about their kind of differences on how they're viewing this situation. So those are my opinions on the issue. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.